Okay, since Aaron asked about Ethereum, I figured I'd give it a quick markup and see what you guys think. This is on the daily chart here. Obviously, the monthly on any crypto is not really worth marking up. I always mark my highs and lows, the all-time highs, all-time lows on these charts, just out of habit. A couple of things that I'm looking at here. This particular run that we're on right now, we've got a tremendous amount of resistance that we're dealing with. Most of it, as you can see, is right in this area here. We're getting in this area where we're going to start consolidating for just a little bit before we either pass through it or bounce up. Being the first time that we're in this area on this side, I expect this to bounce up a lot like this is right here. Let's see here. Also going to look at the top side of this and see where we're finding our demand's coming from. You got this really long wick that we dealt with here. And as you can see, that wick there kind of matched up to the cap that we had here. It also matched up to this wick here. Remember, this is a daily chart, so these wicks are pretty important. And if you look at the zones that they create, although this is a very wide zone, there was a lot of really fast motion, both on the upswing that we took here, this downswing we took here, and then when we fell right back through it again here. This is just a very rapid zone. That's why it's so big, at least for my chart. Bringing this into a 4-hour chart, get a little bit closer look here. There's a couple other wicks that are a little concerning to me. I'm going to mark these out here. And as you can see, this area here, we're dealing mainly with this wick that I'm seeing here. This creates this zone. We're dealing with this deep bottom here that we had, this last lower low. And then basically we're creating a split between the daily zone and the 4-hour zone. So what I'm expecting to see is some consolidation here, a spike back up in price up into this area here where we'll probably bounce back down again and then through it, and kind of give you an idea of why I think we're going to do what we're doing. Now, Nick, I'm going to need you to kind of chime in on this here to see if I'm right with the way this works, because I'm still trying to figure this Elliott wave thing out. But starting from our all-time high up here on what I'm considering to be a consistent downtrend, we've got our 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and assuming this is the end of 5, we're going to say this will be our 5. If that's true, then what we're going to have after that is a correction wave, ABC. Correction wave is typically going to come back and test something to this nature here. And then from that point, and this will be very vague, you're going to have a dramatic drop that's got to clear this 5 wave. It'll come back and retest. It'll drop again, retest, and then drop again. The 5 wave here will probably be pretty short, and that'll probably be the bottom of what we're dealing with. But here's what we're looking at. Let me zoom in on this some. And again, assuming that this is the bottom of the 5th wave, we never know when the bottom is going to be. You know, a few days back, we were looking at this being the bottom. A couple days before that, this was the bottom. So we don't really know. But the fact that we cleared this low over here, we created this run coming down. If this is the bottom, and based on this area here being the bottom, there's a very good chance that that's what we're dealing with. Then you're going to see your corrective wave. Your corrective wave has to have 3 phases to it, your ABC. The C is going to usually end up being about the cap here. As you can look back here and see this is where we're in this zone where we're having all these, you're having a dramatic price come through here, but you're having this wick come in here, this wick come in here. So this is a very strong area for price to move to. Once we do that, we've got to have our 5 waves coming back down. The 5 waves coming down have some mathematical equations that go with them as to how far they're going to go, but mainly the number 1 wave, it has to clear 5. The number 2 wave is probably just going to be a retest. Number 3 has to clear number 1, typically by twice this distance, the 1 to 2. Number 4 would be a retest back. Typically is going to be around this area, maybe a little bit short of that area. And then 5 is going to be a fairly short wave coming down. And then we would either have, again, the ABC, or we would have a complete correction at that point, which we would take off and head up and start our run to the north. But given what I'm looking at here and the question that came up from Aaron, I'm going to try to caption this for you guys also. I'm looking at Ethereum continuing to drop down to as much as the 140 to 150 range. Once it's through all of its corrections, we're still talking about quite a few days here. Remember, this is a 4-hour chart. So this period right here, we're talking 2 days. So I'm looking at 2 to 3 days here, another 2 to 3 days here. Now, another thing to note real quick before I quit here, the end of this corrective wave C down to 1, this is going to be a dramatic drop in my opinion. I'm going to show you real quick why I think that. Because I think that's one bet that I'm truly going to take when it comes to dealing with some of this crypto. So I'm going to get rid of this Elliott wave here just to get it out of the way. I'm going to come in here and find my corrective wave. And if we start here, which is the end of wave 1, and we go our corrective wave, A, B, C, we get a dramatic drop again. So we had wave 1, 2, 3. So when we come from C to 3, that's a huge fast drop that we got here. Okay, so we come back and we look at, you know, what has happened before with these things. Again, here you come in here, you've got your 1 pulse here, so you start coming down, you got your, let me delete that, wrong button in there. So coming in here, so you've got your, basically your A, your B, your C, and then we get this dramatic drop again. So when your Elliott wave comes up, you got your next phase here. All the ABCs, they follow these dramatic drops at the end. So you got basically, oops, sorry, wrong area. Just like up here, when we reach our caps, you know, we got our A, B, C, and we fall. Even inside of the waves inside of waves, you got your A, your B, your C, and then it dramatically drops. So that's why I'm thinking that we're going to see kind of an elongated ABC here, but after that, this right here is probably going to be a pretty fast and hard drop to look for. So that's my 2 cents. Hopefully somebody else can chime in and see what they think and go from there.